For most people, the Kybalion sounds like just another mysterious book, short, dense, written in an unusual tone, often quoted, rarely understood. But for over a century, this text has quietly influenced philosophers, mystics, psychologists, and even early scientists, not because it offers comfort, but because it makes a very specific claim that reality operates according to laws, and that these laws can be understood, not through belief, not through faith, but through observation, reason, and inner experience. In this episode, we are not here to romanticize the past. We are here to do something more difficult, to ask, what is the Kybalion? Where does it actually come from? And why does it still feel unsettlingly relevant today? Hermeticism is not a religion. It has no church, no holy book revealed from the sky. It is a tradition of thought, a way of understanding reality that emerged in the Hellenistic world, roughly between the 3rd century BCE and the 3rd century CE. This was a unique moment in history. Greek philosophy, Egyptian cosmology, and Near Eastern metaphysics were all colliding. At the centre of this synthesis stood a symbolic figure, Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the 3 times great. To the Egyptians, he was associated with Thoth, the god of writing, measurement, wisdom, and time. To the Greeks, he became Hermes, the messenger between worlds. Later, Islamic scholars would identify this figure with the prophet Idris, not as a historical claim, but as a symbolic continuity of wisdom. Hermes Trismegistus was never just one man. He was a name given to a lineage of ideas about mind cosmos, order, and the relationship between the human and the divine Hermetic texts were not written for the masses. They were written for those already trained to think carefully. Here is where honesty matters. The Kybalion was published in 1908. Its authorship is attributed to the 3 initiates, but most scholars agree it was written by William Walker Atkinson. So no, this is not a direct ancient manuscript, and that matters, but it does not invalidate the text, because the Kybalion never claims to be ancient scripture. It presents itself as a summary, a distillation of Hermetic principles that already existed across centuries of philosophy. In other words, the Kybalion is not the source, it is a map, and like any map, its value depends on how accurately it represents a territory. So instead of asking, is this ancient or modern, the better question is, does it correctly reflect the core ideas of Hermetic thought? That is what we will test, principle by principle. The first Hermetic principle states that all is mind. The universe is mental. This sentence has been misunderstood more than almost any other. It does not mean reality is your imagination. Think positive and you control the universe. In classical philosophy, the word mind refers to nous. Nous is not personal thought. It is organising intelligence. Plato described nous as the principle that gives structure to chaos. Plotinus described reality as emanating from an intelligible source, not from matter. In Islamic philosophy, this idea appears as a qul al-qul, the universal intellect. Reality unfolds through levels of intelligibility before it ever becomes physical. Now compare this with modern science. At the most fundamental level, reality is not made of solid objects. It is made of fields, equations, information particles are not things, they are descriptions of behaviour. What Hermeticism claimed was radical but precise. That reality behaves like a system because it is structured by intelligence. Not human intelligence, but an underlying order that makes form possible at all. This is not mysticism in opposition to science, it is metaphysics running parallel to it. If the universe is mental in nature, then consciousness is not an accident. Then that changes everything. It means meaning is not imposed, it emerges. Observation is not passive, and human awareness is not insignificant. This is why Hermeticism was never popular. It removes the comfort of randomness, and it removes the excuse of helplessness. In this episode, we establish foundations, what Hermeticism actually is, what the Kybalion represents, and why the first principle is not poetry, but structure. This is just the beginning. In the next episode, we will explore the second principle, as above, so below, not as a slogan, but as a precise claim about correspondence between levels of reality. If you want to continue this journey, slow, careful, and honest, subscribe. Because this series is not about belief, it is about understanding.